Hi, Naledi.
Hi, sir.
You well?
Yes, I'm very good, sir.
I'm great. Thank you for asking. So, KG, we only see you when you are really desperate, ne?
On Monday, I was writing.
Yeah. Huh? Okay. No, it's cool. All right, we're gonna start in just a few. We're gonna be live on YouTube. To those of you that are joining us, welcome. All right, we're gonna start in a few minutes. Kusele 3 minutes. Okay, but how are things going with you guys?
Good, sir. It's just prelims are draining.
Prelims are draining. Eish. It's gonna be a marathon from here on because right after that, just a few weeks, then we'll be busy with finals, ne? So this is endurance season. Unfortunately, you just need to endure. There's no other way of surviving except for you to endure this season, okay?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right, I'm just waiting here for some of the other people to join us as well. Aisha, now we see you only when you are desperate. Hey, I love prelims. Oh, the dead have risen. Okay. All right, I just need to get the framing right in here. Let me just check that now. All right, good afternoon, good evening. What do I say? Ndimacheloni sanbonani huyem. What is it? Huyenand, ne? In Afrikaans. All right. Hope you guys are well. So I've been sent a couple of questions, and I'm going to be taking you guys through those questions this afternoon, okay, or this evening, in preparation for tomorrow. To those of you that are joining us from our channel, good evening, and I hope that everybody is really getting ready for those prelims. All right, and please just do your absolute best in ensuring that you answer each and every question. But before I get started, guys, I just wanted to let you know that this coming Saturday, we will be having our preparation for paper 2. So I will be with you guys this time around. Last week I was not able to due to an unforeseen event that happened in one's life. But we will be doing paper 2 on mathematics because I know that most of you are writing. And Naledi, I see you've got your hand up.
Yes, sir. When will we be doing the physics one?
That will be next week. Okay, so the same thing that we're doing this week in terms of maths, we will be doing in terms of physics in the coming week. Okay, so for those of you who may want to join us, please just contact us. Our number is 064 554 7199. Our email address is info@mlungisinkosi.co.za. All right, so are you guys ready? Let's get ready to rumble. I'm sure some of the other guys will join us a little bit later, but I'm going to share my screen right now. If you want to join these guys who are with me in class, you'll do the same. You'll contact us on our number, and they will also tell you how you do that. All right, so KG sent me a question. This is on optimization. Now, before I get started on the question itself, please, I want you guys to remember for tomorrow, for those of you that are writing, I want you to really take an approach. If maybe today there's still a section that you're really unsure about, my advice for you for tomorrow is that please you always want to kind of gain confidence as you answer questions. So you want to start on that section that you really are confident in, and work your way towards the more challenging stuff. And the reason for that is that, remember, at the beginning you're going to be nervous, all right? So you want to get something that's kind of going to help you calm down and get into your natural rhythm, right? So if it is that maybe you're finding this section a little bit daunting for now, maybe start on functions. That's the section. In fact, functions has the most marks. What I'm going to do, because I was sent a question here on cubic functions, right? Cubic functions. So that's the section we're going to do. We're also going to do financial maths, a bit of financial maths. I was sent a question as well on that. And we'll see. I want to make sure that at least I try to get as much as possible within the hour, but let's get right into it. All right, so, and later on I'm going to look at your questions, and please guys, if there's anything that you don't understand, please do go ahead and ask questions, okay? Right, so they say to us in this question, we've got a closed rectangular box with a rectangular base, has a length of 2x and a width of x. The total surface area, all 6 sides, is 243 cubic square centimeters, right? Now I want us to please note in this case, they say show that the height h is equal to that entire expression. Right, so what we are going to do is we must keep in mind, and I don't know why they gave this 2 marks, but we'll try our level best. Now remember, okay, I'm not very good at drawing, so I'm going to try my absolute best. So we've got a rectangular prism, okay, or a rectangular box. Okay, so it looks something like this. Okay. All right, I'm gonna try and so that I can illustrate it as best as possible. Please, if it looks skew, you'll forgive me. All right, as long as you understand, you get the gist of what I'm trying to do, right? All right, so there is our box, all right? So in this case, what am I going to do? I've got how many sides on this box? I've got the 2 sides, I've got a front and a back side, and I've got a top and a bottom, right? They said to me that the length is 2x, right? You remember that? They said we've got a length of 2x, so there it is there. And we've got a width, which means here on the side it is x, all right? And that makes me happy because it means we only have 1 variable so far, right? But in this case, I know mine looks a little bit skew, but remember, we also need to find out what the height is, right? Because we are dealing with a 3D diagram. So we've got length, we've got the breadth, or you can say the width, and as well as the height, okay? Now think about all the different sides that we've got, right? So all the sides that we have are repeated twice. So the top goes with the bottom, the 2 sides go together, the front and the back go together. They are kind of the same dimension, right? So what are we given? We are given the surface area. So which means I'm going to take the surface area of this entire rectangular box, right? And in this case, what is the total surface area in terms of x? Okay, we will deal with that a little bit later. So let's talk about the front. So the front, the surface area will be the length multiplied by the height. Can you guys see that? Né? So if I'm looking at the front of the box, so that's going to be the length multiplied by the height. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes, sir.
All right, beautiful. So this means, remember, we said the front and the back, right, are together. So we've got 2 times the 2x multiplied by the height, which is h. That's for the front as well as the back, plus another surface area. We've got the sides, right? And for the sides, you've got, all right, on each side, you've got the width multiplied by the height again. But you've got 2 sides, so which means that we'll say 2 multiplied by the area, and the area is x multiplied by height, okay? And then the last one, which is the top and the bottom. So if you think about the bottom, it has a width of 2x. It has a length of 2x, and it has a width of x. So in that case, it's going to be 2x multiplied by x. But remember, you've got the bottom as well as the top. So which means we've got 2 multiplied by 2x multiplied by x. All right, so that's the total surface area of this box. So in essence, right, if I can just take out the 2 as the common factor in that case, so what do I have? I've got 2xh plus another xh plus 2x squared. So I want you guys to note in this case, deliberately I took the 2 out, okay, so that you could see that, so I've taken this part, as well as that part, okay, and taking out the 2. But what is this equal to? You remember they said that the total surface area is 243, right? So which means we've got 243 of that. So we want to now isolate the height of this box, all right? So I want you to note in this case, I'm going to divide both sides by 2, all right? And what's 243 divided by 2? Okay, let me just see quickly. So 243 divided by 2 gives me 121.5. Okay, and now I want you to note in this case I've got 2xh plus xh. Those are exactly the same. So that will give me 3xh plus 2x squared. So I want to get h to be the subject of the formula. So I'm going to have 121.5, which is minus 2x squared, all right? And this will be equal to 3xh. Are you guys still following so far, né?
Yes.
All right. So how do I get h to be the subject of the formula? So I'm going to divide both sides by 3x. But what I do on the left, I also do on the right. So that cancels with that. So I've got h, which is equal to, so I want you to note I've got 121.5 divided by 3. Okay, so that's divided by 3. That gives me 40.5. Good? But this will be 40.5 over x. All right? Minus, so I've got 2 over 3. So this is 2x squared divided by 3x as well. So that will be 2 over 3 into x. All right, does this make sense as well, guys? So they wrote it as 81 over 2. You'll see that 81 over 2 is 40.5. Okay, so I can write it in the exactly the same way. So that's 81 over 2x minus, they wrote it again as 2 over 3x. Does that make sense? KG, do you get it? KG, are you still with us? All right, I don't know if, all right, but the rest of you guys, are you still okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, beautiful stuff. So why do we want to do this? We want so that we've now isolated, in this case, so we've formulated another equation in terms of x that is going to serve as a substitute now when we do the main equation so that we can optimize. So remember, when it comes to optimization, you're always going to derive the equation, right? You're going to substitute the one equation that you've derived into the other so that you eliminate one of the variables that you don't want, so that you are only left with one variable. Usually that variable is x, and as a result, you're going to continue in that regard. Okay, now they say to us, show that the volume of the box in terms of x is given by the formula v is equal to ... Okay, right, so we want to express the volume of the box. Now remember, this is a rectangular prism. How do we get the volume? We always say the area of the base multiplied by the height. Our base is a rectangle, and that rectangle has got 2x multiplied by x, right? So the area of the base, so the volume in terms of x, it will be the area of the base multiplied by the height. Okay? So the area of our base, remember we said that's 2x multiplied by x. So that's 2x multiplied by x. So that's going to be 2x squared multiplied by h. But remember, we want to express that only in terms of x. So what are we going to do? We're going to substitute for h with the equation that we've derived up there, right? So this is going to be 2x squared into, that's 81 over 2x minus 2 over 3 multiplied by x. All right. Now notice for the first one, I want to just make sure that I don't lose any of you. So multiplied by, so we're going to apply our distributive law. That's divided by 2x minus, now remember this is also going to be 2x squared, right, multiplied by 2 over 3x. Let's try and multiply that out. So this will give us, okay, the x cancels with one of the x's there, and the 2 with the 2 there, and so we are left with 81 multiplied by x. That will give us 81x, and we've got negative 2 times 2, which gives us minus 4x cubed over 3. Okay, 3 times 1 there should give us 3. So that's what we have. Let's see if it's exactly what is given to us. So that's 81x minus 4 over 3x cubed. Are we all together so far, guys?
Yes.
Right. So do you see, oh,
Yes, sir.
where do you come from, KG? You disappeared on us for a second there.
So this time was given the problem.
Oh, okay. Right. So what happened in this case is that we've now isolated the h. So I can bet you on the next question, they are going to tell us to either find the maximum volume or find the value of x such that the volume is maximum. So what do? Anytime that we want to either maximize or minimize, we're going to take the derivative and make it equal to 0. Okay, so the next question says to us, calculate the value of x, right, if the volume of the box is a maximum. So how are we going to do that? So we're going to take v prime of x, so we're taking the derivative and making that equal to 0. All right, so what is our derivative going to look like? So that's going to be 81. Okay, so remember that it has a 1 there, so that's 1 times 81, which is 81, but we subtract 1. Okay, so that's minus 3 times 4 over 3. What does that give us? It gives us 4, okay, x squared. And this is equal to 0. Okay, right. Now, please, I want you to note in this case, I've got minus 4x squared, which is equal to negative 81 on the other side. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. Yes, please go ahead.
So why didn't you times the 3 with the 4?
I did. So what I did was to say 3 multiplied by 4 over 3. So if you notice 3 times 4 over 3, that will cancel with that, and you're left with the 4.
Sorry, sir.
All right, no problem. I went a bit quick into it. Sorry about that if I lost you now. Okay, so I've got a negative 4 and negative 4 that I'm dividing by. So what am I left with? X squared, which is equal to, what's 81 divided by 4? Okay, it still gives me 81 over 4, but that's fine. Okay, so that's 81 over 4. And so what do? I'm going to get the value of x by taking the square root on either side. But remember, when I take the square root, I always say plus or minus. However, since we're dealing with dimensions, can I have a negative dimension?
No.
It's not possible, no? Right, so in this case, I'm only going to consider the value that is positive, okay? Because I'm dealing with the dimension in this case. Square root of 81, that is 9, and square root of 4 is 2. So which means that the value of x, now remember you're dealing with the dimension, and that was given to us in centimeters, I believe. Yes. So that means that x is 9 over 2 centimeters, or you can say 4.5 centimeters. Is good, is nice? KG?
Yes.
All right, beautiful stuff. Okay, so please, I want you guys to always note whenever it is that we are going through these kind of questions, right? We're always going to derive first, okay? And we are going to get an equation that we're going to substitute into another equation so that we eliminate one of the variables. And once we have our main equation, they'll always say either maximize or minimize, and that is how we're going to do optimization. And please don't allow this section to, to stress you, right? It is very straightforward. The more you look at questions, the more you'll realize that all of them are standard, they are the same, they follow the same pattern. The only difference is that some of the questions have got, area in them and volume. Some of the questions have to do with speed and distance and time. Some of the questions have to do, there are all types of questions. Some have graphs in them, but nonetheless, it's all the same procedure. Right, okay. I'm going to go to the next question. KG, you are good.
Yes, thank you.
All right, beautiful stuff. Right, so let me go through the question that I got on the cubic function. I also got it from I wanted to do a different question, but I saw this one and I thought, okay, maybe let me go through this one so that I just show you a couple of things there. Right, so what do we have? We're given the cubic function there, which is f of x, which is x cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. right? And they say g of x is equal to 2x. Now, they say to us the graph of f intersects the x-axis at x is equals to -2. So there it is there. Let me just use a different color. Okay, so it intersects over there at -2. It intersects at x is equal to 1 and also x is equal to 3. Right, they say the turning points of f are the points A and B respectively, where x of B is greater than x of A, right? And they say the line PQ is perpendicular to the x-axis, which means it's a vertical line. Okay, so please note that. They're saying it's a vertical line. So with point P on F and Q on G. Now let's go for it. They say show that the equation of F can be written as. Now, what we could do is from that expression, make 3 equations. But I can promise you guys, it will be very cumbersome to solve in that way. So can I show you something from this question? So if you note f of x that is given over there, firstly, the value of a is 1. So that's the coefficient of our x cubed term. So that coefficient is 1. So it means, in this case, I can then take all of my x intercepts and multiply them together, right? So remember my x-intercept, I've got an x-intercept at -2. So which means when I put it in the equation, that's going to be x plus 2. Okay? I've got another x-intercept at 1, positive 1. Okay, I'm going to switch this thing off. So that becomes x minus 1. And I've got another x-intercept at 3. So this will be x minus 3. Now, usually you would have had to say f of x is equal to a, and you'll need to determine the value of a. Usually, you would have had another point for you to be able to determine what the value of a is. But by virtue of us looking at the equation, we were given the value of a to be equal to 1. So I am not going to, in fact, I'm going to put 1 there. Right, and all we need to do is to multiply that out. Okay, so I've got x plus 2. Let's do that together. So I've got, in my brackets, I've got x times x, which is going to be x squared. And I've got x multiplied by -3. That's -3x. And I've got minus x, minus 1 times x, which is minus x. So I've got minus 3x minus x, which will give me -4x. I hope you guys are still with me now. And then for the last term, I've got -1 times -3, which will give me +3. Right, I'm going to come back to the questions that I have from the people online. I'll go into the comment section just to go and view and see how many of those questions I have. Right, so let's multiply that together again. So remember, we're going to use our distributive law. X times x squared will give me x cubed, right? And then I've got x multiplied by -4x, which will be -4x squared. I've got x multiplied by 3, which is +3x. Okay, I'm going to do the same with the 2. Right, 2 multiplied by x squared, which will give me 2x squared. I've got 2 multiplied by -4x, which is going to be -8x. And finally, I've got +2 times 3, which will give me +6. So all we need to do now is to add up all of those together, the like terms, right? We're going to add all the like terms together. So I've got x cubed. There I've got my x squared terms. I've got -4 plus 2, which will give me -2x squared. And for my x terms, I've got 3x minus 8x, which will give me minus 5x, and that is plus 6. Now let's check. Does it look exactly like the one that we're given? Well, it's exactly that. So we've got minus 2x squared, minus 5x plus 6. Okay, right. So that is how we are going to go about that question. The next question, they say to us, calculate the coordinates of A and B. So, what are A and B? Those are my turning points, right? And so for the cubic function, remember that for A and B, I am simply going to take the derivative, make it equal to 0, right? So let's find out what the value of A and B are respectively. So that's going to be 8.2. So I'm going to take the derivative and make that equal to 0. What is our derivative? That's going to be 3x squared minus 4x minus 5, and this is equal to 0. Okay, right. Are we able to factorize this, by the way? So let's see if I've got 3 over 1 and 5 over 1. Am I able to factorize this? Such that we are able to get... we're not able to factorize this. So what does it mean? It means that we're going to have to use the quadratic formula, right? And note, they did not just say the x coordinates, they said we must find the coordinates of A and B. So let's use our discriminant. So I'm going to say delta is b squared minus 4ac, right? So our b squared is negative 4 squared minus 4 times a is 3 and c is negative 5. Am I still on the right track, guys? Minus 4 times 3 times negative 5. Okay, I got 76. Please confirm. So this is minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Right, so to get the values of x, that's minus b. B is negative 4 plus minus the square root. Remember, we found b squared minus 4ac. So this is going to be square root of 76. And this is divided by 2 times a, and our a value is 3, right? So that will give us our respective x values. Please help me out, guys, with the calculation of our x values. So we've got negative 4, we've got minus a minus 4, which is 4, plus the square root of 76, and this is 2 times 3 divided by 2 times 3, which is 6. Okay, and I get a value of x to be 2.112, right? Okay, the other value, when we make that negative, I get a value x is equal to negative 0.79. Good?
Yes.
All right, now all we need to do to get the corresponding y values, we're going to need to find, or rather substitute those values for x into f. So 2.12. Please, guys, if you can you please just work this out for me very quickly, because I don't want to waste a long time on it, so that we are able to get, please, if you've got a value for me. So I know the coordinates of A. A is on the negative side. That's negative 0.79. Okay, does anyone have a y value for me? And b is equal to 2.12. So this value here will be 2.12. Please remember, you substitute into the original equation, nah? Okay. Which means...
So the thing if 2.152 is equal to negative 4.06.
4.06. Negative 4.06. All right, that kind of makes sense because we've got our x value here on the fourth quadrant. Né? So that's negative 4.06. Thank you for that. Okay, what is the other one for 0.79 at A? Anyone?
It's going to be 8.21.
8.21. Okay, 0.79 and 8.21. All right. So it also makes sense. And please, guys, when you get values, it's always important for you to be able to verify, because if it's in the fourth quadrant and you get a negative, if it's in the second quadrant and you get a negative y value, that wouldn't make sense, right? So whatever value that you get, you need to be able to verify if it makes sense as a solution to your graph. Okay, right, now let's get into the other questions. They say calculate the maximum length. This is a 6 marks question, guys. They say calculate the maximum length of the line PQ for the interval -2 to 3. Right. I want you guys to note, what did we say PQ is? It is a distance between the graph of F and the graph of G. Can you guys see that? Nah? It's a vertical distance between the graph of F and the graph of G. Now, I know what the equation for f of x is, right? So I'm going to say this means that PQ of x is equal to f of x minus g of x. G of x is at the bottom, and remember the equation for g of x is 2x, right? So which means for 8.3, so PQ of x is going to be f of x minus g of x. And so I want you to note in this case the equation for f of x, we've got minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. Note, when I subtract another equation, please learn to put the other equation in brackets. Né? So I'm going to say minus 2x minus g of x. Remember that g of x was given to us as 2x. Now the reason why I want you to put it in brackets, imagine if it was 2x plus 3. So that means that the plus 3 must also be multiplied by the negative as well, right? I'm not saying it is plus 3, but I'm just showing you why I'm emphasizing that you need to put it in brackets. Now let's write down this equation in full. So which means it's x cubed minus 2x squared. Now I've got minus 5x plus 6 minus 2x. So what does that mean? It means the final equation is minus, So x cubed minus 2x squared. So I've got minus 5x minus 2x, which gives me minus 7x. This is plus 6. This is the equation for PQ of x. Now, what did they say we should do with PQ of x? They said to us, we must find the maximum length. What do we do when we want to find anything that is maximum in calculus?
Derivative.
We take the derivative and make it equal to 0, right? So which means we're going to say again 3x squared minus 4x, this is minus 7, all right, and this is equal to 0, right? I really do think that this one we can actually factorize. So we've got 3 over 1 and 7 over 1. Yes, we definitely can factorize, né? Okay, so that's going to be 3x and 7. We're going to have x and 1, and this is equal to 0. Okay, so which one is negative? Remember, our bigger product must give us the sign of the middle term. So minus 7x should be greater in this case, and positive 3x. Okay, that's the smaller number. So what do we have? X is equal to 7 over 3, or x is equal to negative 1. Now you remember they gave us a restriction. They said x must be any value between negative 2 and 3. So between negative 2 and 3. Okay, definitely this is applicable. What is 7 over 3? Between negative 2 and 3. Okay, so it looks like both values are applicable in this case, right? Because they do fit within that restriction, which is negative 2 and 3. However, I want you guys to please be very careful. I'm not going to accept both values. Why? Because remember, what does this represent? What does this equation represent? If I were to plot it as a graph, what would it represent? What type of a graph would it represent?
Cubic.
It's a cubic function, right? But it's a cubic function that has a which is greater than 0. So remember, if a is greater than 0 for a cubic function, if a is greater than 0, it's a cubic function that looks like this, right? If our a value was negative, then it's a cubic function that looks like this. Now, I want you to note, which means for our x values, because we're dealing with the first one, which value gives us the maximum? It's the first value that we get. Okay? Because it starts with the local maximum and then a minimum. So the one that is maximum is the one that starts first. And also you'll see that it makes sense in terms of the graph. So which means the value that we're going to take is negative 1. Why? Because it's smaller. It's the smaller value. Are you guys with me so far? Okay. So which means this one is not applicable. Why? It will give us a minimum value. So which means the value that we're going to take is negative 1. So they said to us we must calculate the maximum length, which means in order for us to find the maximum length, we take the equation of PQ and substitute negative 1. Okay, let's find that. That's going to be negative 1 cubed minus 2 times negative 1 squared minus 7 times negative 1 plus 6. Okay, and that will give us the value for PQ. I hope that's clear, guys. And I hope you also understand why I discriminated against the other value, so that you know where it is that we take the maximum and where it is that we get the minimum. Okay, right, you can work that out. For me, it's neither here nor there. All right, did you guys get an answer? Okay, 6 plus 7, that's 13. Minus 2 minus 1. Okay, I get a value that is it 10? Is it 10 units?
Yes.
Okay, right. So which means that the maximum value for PQ would be equal to 10 units. All right, and then finally, they say to us the graph of F is concave down for x is less than k, right? Calculate the value or values of k, right? Now when I look at that graph, where is the graph concave down? All right, let me try and remove this. Where is the graph concave down? I want to show it to you. So the graph is concave down all the way from infinity. Okay, I'm going to try and increase this. From negative infinity until what we call the point of inflection, right? So we will need to find out where is that point of inflection, right? So in that case, which means I need to get what the point of inflection is. So from negative infinity till the point of inflection in that case. But where do we get the point of inflection? Well, we can say that it is the double derivative, right? So it is where the double derivative is equal to 0. All right, we had already found the derivative of f of x. Where is that? No, not PQ. There we go. We found the derivative of f prime. So f prime was 3x squared minus 4x minus 5. So when we take f double prime, the derivative of the derivative, so we're going to say this is going to give us 3 times 2, that's 6x minus 4. Okay? So our double derivative is 6x minus 4, but remember the double derivative is equal to 0. So which means 6x is equal to 4, and if I divide by 6 on either side, I am going to get x is equal to 2 over 3, right? So this is the point of inflection. This is the x value for the point of inflection. So which means, where is my graph concave down? Our graph is going to be concave down from negative infinity all the way up until we get to the point of inflection, which is 2 over 3, right? So we can say x is an element of negative infinity. Remember, you do not include infinity or negative infinity all the way till 2 over 3, but I'm also going to exclude that value because at the point of inflection, right, it is not concave up or concave down. This is the point that separates between the two, right? Alternatively, you can express this as x is less than 2 over 3, okay? Right, please always make it a point that you choose one of the ways in which you can express it. If you choose inequality form, just leave it in inequality form. If you prefer it in element form, then you can do so as well. Okay, right, and that is how the cookie crumbles, guys, on this question. Are there any questions? Oh, sorry, they had said to us, find the value of k. And by the way, can you see? They said x must be less than k, so which means our value for k is 2 over 3. All right, so the value for k is 2 over 3. Right, I hope you guys were good. All right, let me quickly run. Let's see how much we can do. Right, the next question that I had was based on financial mathematics. Again, I was sent this question, so I'm going to just try and look at it. Really, the question that I was sent was 7.3, but I thought to myself, let me just do the whole of question 7. I hope that you won't mind. If you don't mind, for the sake of time, I won't work out the final answers. You will you can work them out on your own, right? But I will work through. If you guys can get me the answer quickly, that's fine. You can give me the answer, but I think for the sake of time, I won't necessarily be pressing on the calculator. So they say to us, we've got an investment that earns interest at a rate of 7.5% per annum, right? That's compounded quarterly, right? They said to us, calculate the effective annual interest rate of this investment. Now, please guys, for this question, I even feel like skipping this question. I mean, it's going to be just the, you know that it's 1 plus I effective, okay, which is equal to, this is 1 plus the nominal interest rate over M. So in this case, our M value, they said it's compounded quarterly. All right, so this is going to be divided by 4, right? And our nominal interest rate was 7.5%. So you'll say divide that by 100, okay? Ah man, 0. This thing is really irritating. Okay, so 0.075, okay, because it's 7.5%, so that's 7.5 divided by 100, and we raise this by 4, right? And in this case, you'll calculate the effective interest rate. If you guys have the answer to this, great, but if not, I'm going to just skip this. Remember, you are given this formula. All you need to do is just plug and play, right? Okay, for the next one, they say to us rhino poaching is a serious problem and has resulted in black rhino becoming an endangered species. They say statistics show that there were 60,000 black rhinos in 1970 and only 4,200 remained in 2011, right? Now I want you to think about it. What's happening here? It means that the value is decreasing, which means this is depreciation, okay? So they say to us, determine the annual rate of population decrease at a percentage over the 42 years if the rate is compound decay. Right, what are they trying to tell us? That we are going to use, all right, so this is A into P. Now note, you've got two types of depreciation, right? You've got the straight line method, okay? And you've got the reducing balance method. So remember, they're telling us in this case that it's decreasing at a compound. So it's compound decay, which means it's a reducing balance method. So this is 1 minus I to the exponent of n. Now, I want you to note, this decreased to 4,200. But where did we start? We started at 60,000. Okay? And this was 1 minus our interest, our rate of depreciation, which is I, which is what they want us to determine. Right. And by the way, this is happening on an annual basis, right? So that's going to be just 1 minus I. And we're going to say this is for 42 years, right? So this happened over 42 years. So that will be, our n value will be 42. Okay, and please guys, all we're going to do, divide both sides by 60,000. All right, and take the value or the root of 42. 42 root of 4,200. Sorry, 4,200 over 60,000. Okay, and this will give us 1 minus I. Okay, and we will subtract with I, and we should be able to get our interest rate. Has anyone found it? Uh, 42 root of, we said that's 4,200 divided by 60,000. As I said, I don't want to waste a lot of time on this. I get a value of 0.93 and I'm going to subtract 1 from it. Right, you'll see that you get a negative value, but remember I've got a negative I over that side. So I've got minus 0.061 is equal to negative I. Right, and remember, if I divide by a negative, I'm going to get 0.061. But remember, I'm looking for the rate in this case, right? So what do I need to do? I need to multiply this value by 100. And so what will this give us? It will give us 6.1%. That's the depreciation rate for the rhinos, okay? And that's the value that we are going to get. Right, let's go to the question that I was actually asked. All right, I hope that you guys will be able to see it. I'll try to increase it as much as I possibly can. So they say to us, Adam inherits 27,000, which he invests in a savings account. The interest is calculated at 5.4% monthly, right, for the full period. They say 3 years after his investment, he invested the initial amount, he withdraws an X amount, right, and to make a down payment for on a car. They say calculate the value of X if he accumulated 17,614 rands and 76 cents in the savings account after 10 years. Now this is classic, a classic timeline question. So there's Adam. So remember, what did he do? He inherited 27,000 rands. This is a T0, okay? So he's going to invest that 27,000 rands, all right? And we know that it is increasing at a rate of 5.4, right? So our interest rate is 5.4% per annum, but please remember that it is monthly, okay? Right, but after year number 3, so here it is, he's going to make a withdrawal. So term 1, term 2, so term T1, T2. After 3 years, he's going to make a withdrawal. Okay, so he's making a withdrawal of R rands. Okay, let me just write the 27,000 at the bottom there and the T0 at the top, yeah, so that there's consistency. So 27,000, okay, and he withdraws an amount, and we know that we are looking at year number 10, right, where we eventually have an amount of 17,614. So 17,614 rands and 76 cents. Right. So here's what I want you guys to do. Oops, we've got 3 minutes that are left into our hour. If you don't mind, I'm just going to try and finish this question. All right. And maybe just we'll close out in a bit. Right. So what am I going to do? Firstly, remember that the 27,000, I'm going to treat it as though it has been growing throughout the 10-year term. And I'm also going to treat the withdrawal as though it is growing interest, but now it's not going to be for 10 years, it is only going to be for 3 years. So I'm going to say, right, for the deposit, so this is the deposit, okay? So I'm going to have the principal amount, 1 plus I, exponent n. So this is 27,000 into 1 plus, remember it was 5.4, so that's 0.054, divided by 12, remember it's monthly, right? And how many months are there? So that's 10 years multiplied by the number of months. Okay, so that's the deposit, right? But in this case, we also have the withdrawal. Withdrawal. And what's happening with the withdrawal? It's that X amount that we do not know. And we're also going to treat it as though it has been decreasing, or rather increasing, accumulating interest. 0.054 over 12. But remember, we withdrew in the third year, which means it's got 7 years to grow. So that's 7 multiplied by 12. Okay, now remember, the deposit minus the withdrawal will end up giving us the balance. So the balance that we have on our account after 10 years will be deposit with interest minus the withdrawal with interest. Does it make sense, guys? So it's 17,614 and 76 cents, right? And I've got that amount there, 27,000, 1 plus 0.054, 0.054 over 12 into 120 minus X into 1 plus 0.054 over 12, right? That would be 7 times 12. All right, so let's do that quickly, guys. I just want to make sure that we get the same value. So I've got 17,614 and 76 cents, right? I'm going to subtract from it. Remember, I'm taking this entire term. So that is going to be 27,000 rather, into 1 plus 1 plus 0.054 over 12 x 120. All right, I get that negative value over there, and I am going to divide it by this guy here. Okay, I'm going to say divide all of that by 1 plus, I should have said negative, right, so that I compensate for that negative there. 1 plus 0.054 over 12. And this is going to be raised to the exponent 7 times 12. All right. So I'm getting an amount that he withdrew. Please let me know if you guys got the same value. It seems Adam withdrew an amount of 19,656 rands and 28 cents. Right, that's the amount that I got in terms of X. I hope that you were able to get this. Please just give me a second. I just want to check on our channel if there are any questions that were asked. Oops, I don't know what I did wrong there. Okay, maybe let me just go back. Alright, let me click there. For some reason, I'm not able to go on to the live. Okay, let me see. Okay. All right. It seems like we went off. Okay. Right, I'm going to stop the broadcast there. Right, guys, I hope that this was at least helpful. That at least it does help you towards preparing for tomorrow, ne? Okay.
Yes, it was. Thank you, sir.
All right, you are most welcome. And should there be any other questions, you're welcome to ask. All right. Sharp, guys.
Bye, sir.
All right,
Bye.
enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too, sir.
All right, likewise. All right, and that's how we end our episode for today. I hope that everyone was able to follow. From me for now, I'll see you guys again next time. Sharp, sharp.